The color, Crushed Ice. The company, Sherwin. This is Hue Review, so let's review. I'm James from the Paint People, and this is the color review show that aims to review all of the colors from the major paint companies, one color at a time. I did a couple of off-whites back-to-back, so I wanted to veer away from something that was so passive like white and go for a gray, because why not? Crushed Ice is a little bit more than just gray. We'll get into some of the details. This show is all about vibe, versatility, and my final verdict. I gotta tell you about this color generally, give you some information on how versatile it is on interior and exterior usage, and then finally I'm gonna tell you how I would use this color in my home and whether or not I actually would use it in my home. So before I get into it, these are some colors that are similar in different paint companies. So if you're not set on using Sherwin-Williams paint for some reason, I'm not going to judge or anything. These are going to be close alternatives. They're not spot-on matches by any stretch of the imagination. You could technically get a custom color match at your local paint store, and I know I used to do them a lot. Why did I say it like that? But really, you're only going to get this color in its purest natural form by going with a Sherwin-Williams product. Not sponsored, that's just what it is.
Don't shoot the messenger, okay?
All right, so what is the vibe of Crushed Ice? Well, it's a pretty cool vibe because this color is in the gray family of colors. It's a neutral. It's part of the white color family according to Sherwin-Williams, but I think it has enough depth where it's more of a gray. It is a lighter neutral color, and we know exactly how light it is because they tell us the LRV. The light reflectance value is a number from 0 to 100. If you're new here, essentially telling us the percentage of light that a color reflects. And the closer that number is to 100, the closer it is to white. Crushed Ice is only a 66. So that's quite literally 2/3 of the way to pure white. So not totally white or even an off-white. It's just a lighter gray that maybe slightly leans towards the warm side of things. Very, very slightly. I find Crushed Ice in practicality to be fairly balanced as a gray, which sounds good in theory. Balanced, neutral, can kind of go with anything. The problem that you can sometimes run into is colors like this are a little volatile depending on your lighting and your decor and your flooring, anything. Even though it normally has maybe the slightest green undertone, that can sometimes not be present at all. It could just look gray. It could look a little more cool leaning. It really does depend. Before you use this color, what am I going to say? Test it out. Before you get a really big can of paint, get a small one. Try it in the space. Either put it on the wall directly so you can see it, or even on a piece of board so you can actually move it around and have it separate from whatever color you have on there right now. But yeah, Crushed Ice is interesting because even though it is gray, it has a little bit of warmth. It's not so much a grayish, I would say. It still feels gray to me, especially when you start seeing it in person and you start seeing it on the walls. It's going to have that gray feeling to it. So if you like gray, then this is going to be a good choice. But if you don't, if you want something warmer, then maybe it's time to move on. Not from this video though, you can keep watching because there's some cool information, I think. Okay, so let's talk about versatility. How usable, how flexible is this color on the interior side and the exterior side? Starting with interior, I would put this at a mid versatility, but this is like a high mid. It's an upper mid. Because this color is pretty subtle and understated, that does give it some versatility. It's not going to feel as domineering as like a navy blue or something. This is still neutral. It's gray. That's great for the most part. Where you can sometimes run into issues is if you're mixing neutrals, the undertones are starting to clash a little bit because this one is so kind of ambiguous as to where it's wanting to go undertone wise. It can sometimes present some issues blending in with other colors based on my experience. And also, if you're not into gray, if you don't like that aesthetic that I think was much more popular years ago, then yeah, it's not going to work. On the exterior side of things, I would give this a mid versatility as well, but on the lower end maybe. I'm not a huge fan of grays like this outside. I don't think it has enough depth to really be noticeable because it feels like a light sort of warm stone gray in a way. There's not really enough warmth to me to put it in that nice little taupey gray category that I enjoy outside. It might even feel a bit washed out when used outside because it has a 66 LRV, not quite as dark as you might want to go. But if you do want the look of your home or any section of your home to have maybe a slightly cool leaning off-white feel, then this could work. This could be a good choice for that, especially if you have it next to darker colors that maybe will give a nice bit of contrast, then I think it could be a good choice. So I wouldn't necessarily deem it as a low versatility even though it's not one I would even think of using outside, to be honest. Okay, so what's the verdict? Not a glowing review so far. Surprise, surprise. First of all, how would I use this color? Where does it fit on the palette pyramid? If you don't know, the palette pyramid is our way of arranging colors together. So if you're new here and you're not a subscriber, no problem, no pressure. Palette pyramids are the way we arrange colors here, where we have the main color up top, which is kind of your default go-to color. You have your support colors underneath, which are more secondary. And then the finishing colors along the bottom of this pyramid are your accent colors. Where would I put crushed ice on the palette pyramid? Now, even though it got kind of mid marks of versatility, I could see crushed ice being a main color, believe it or not. I think if this is the sort of look you're going for, if you want to lean into neutrals, especially on the gray side of things, maybe not going all the way into the cool blue side of gray, but more kind of in the middle, just sort of hinting towards the warm side of things, I think crushed ice is solid. It's definitely light enough. It's in that sweet spot where it's going to reflect quite a bit of light back into whatever area you're using it in, but not feel too light where it's just going to be completely lost in the sauce. So yeah, main color, or maybe a support color for a warmer main color if you want a little more of a coziness sort of feeling like I usually do. So that's how I'd use it. But would I? No, I wouldn't. I don't think this is a color that is me. Has maybe the slightest green undertone, but not enough to make it a greenage, like a greeny beigey gray color that I really enjoy. It's just sort of ambiguous and doesn't really inspire a lot of fun and creativity in me. I like warmer colors generally. I guess that's a review. If you want me to do a palette involving this color, let me know in the comment section below. Maybe you have different thoughts. That's always great. And here is another video for you.